Implied and express conditions and warranties. Now we know what is express and what is implied. Express is something which is expressed by the two parties to the contract, the buyer and the seller here. In this case, we are doing sale of goods, so the two parties here are not the offerer and the offeree, but the buyer and the seller. So, in effect, they are the offerer and the offeree, but we call them buyer and seller. So, terms and stipulations which are agreed and accepted by the buyer and the seller at the time of the contract, they are called as the express terms. So, they may be express conditions and express warranties. And there are some conditions and warranties which may not be expressed to each other by the buyer and seller, but they are implied by law on them. Though they have not decided on those terms, such stipulations, such conditions and warranties are forced onto the buyer and seller by law. The law tells them to abide by these conditions and warranties. Such conditions and warranties are called as implied conditions and implied warranties. Now, you would have seen that you get guarantees and warranties when you purchase goods. So that is express. But there may be some things which the law implies on you. They are implied. So, when it comes to express, any number of terms, stipulations, conditions and warranties may be expressed between the buyer and the seller. That is left up to them. However, if they are silent about certain things, the law itself says that even if the buyer and seller have not touched upon these things, these clauses in the agreement, in the contract, they'll have to be followed. Such conditions and warranties will be followed by the buyer and seller because they are implied by law. So now let us see what are such implied conditions and warranties, because express conditions and warranties would be decided by the buyer and the seller. So they can be any, let's say the buyer tells him, the example I gave you, the car should run at a top speed of 250 kilometers per hour. So now this is the express condition. The buyer asks the seller that the car should have a sunroof, that is a roof that goes in. That is an express condition. The seller tells him that the car, apart from having a sunroof, has a folding seat. So that becomes an express warranty. Now, if the seat does not fold, there's a breach of warranty. So, any number of conditions and warranties may be expressed. So that depends upon the buyer and seller solely. Let us study what are those conditions and warranties which the law has imposed on the buyer and seller.